Right, so today's webinar is about recruitment for small businesses. And you may know that recruitment for small businesses is a bit different than for a multinational or for a medium-sized business. And you want to make sure that you're doing the right things, but also that you know how to do what you're doing. Okay, so today's webinar, we'll talk about that. A little bit about me. I'm a people operations consultant. My name is Raksha Chandnani, a married name. I was raised in South America where I obtained my bachelor's degree in HR. In 2015, I left for South America. I left South America for the United Kingdom, to pursue my master's in HR and consulting at Lancaster University in the UK. I speak English and Dutch fluently, and I've held various HR roles in the past, mostly in multinationals in the mining, lumber, and outsourcing industry. Alongside, I've been a HR consultant for small and medium enterprises for almost 10 years. I started People Operations Barcelona to provide HR advisory services to the business community in Barcelona. And for entrepreneurs and small businesses, I like to create encouraging and flourishing work environments by providing you solutions and advice pertaining to HR strategy, onboarding, recruitment, reward and recognition, job descriptions, policies and procedures, and performance management programs. That's a little bit about me and my business, and we will get down to the contents right away. Great. So, like I said, a small business is different than a multinational, but that doesn't mean that you take things lightly. So today I will teach you how to accurately define the jobs that need to be fulfilled, identify the pay scale for each job, affordable yet effective recruitment methods that you can use, how to identify and screen candidates on paper and in person, how to conduct a reference check, how to make a job offer, and how to prepare for the new employee. So let's get started. Great. Now, I'm going to give you a concrete example which we will use throughout this webinar. Imagine having a luxury tour business that is doing really well. You started the company with your partner 2 years ago by providing luxury tours within Spain to mostly foreigners who are looking for 7 to 14 days of getaways on average. So short holidays. Over time, your business has grown significantly and you are looking to reduce your workload by hiring an assistant. Now comes the real deal. How do you know whom to hire and what to look for in this person? This webinar will teach you exactly that, hiring successfully for your small business. Okay. Now, to hire successfully, you need to have a few steps in order. To attract the right person for your business and the job, you need to start by defining a series of tasks, challenges, and opportunities. You can easily do this by writing down what the person would need to do in order to be considered successful. Every job can be described with the help of actions such as organize, develop, maintain, lead, prepare, or create. For the above-mentioned position of the travel business assistant, you will ideally formulate the job description as on the slide. Excuse me. Plan and organize luxury tours for a wide variety of clients. Develop new areas of interest and marketing strategies to reach clients. Liaise and negotiate with various vendors for procuring best prices and services. Provide excellent customer service at all times to clients. Maintain customer databases and incorporate customer feedback into plans and improvements. That's a very simple job description that I've given you. Of course, you can make it as elaborate as you like. Now, once you have, right, before I forget, why are we not listing skills and requirements? If you go to the previous slide, you will see this is only things that the person should be able to do. Why are we not listing skills and requirements? Because this is a performance-based job description. Someone who can deliver the results will have all the skills and experiences required. Because I believe, and a lot of people in HR believe the same, results determine skills. and not the other way around. So you can ask for a lot of qualifications. Oh, I want a very fancy degree in event management, or all sorts of certifications. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the person's qualifications in person, like how they are able to perform versus what credentials they have. Okay, so this is why I would suggest this format, but you are welcome to tailor it to your company as you require. Okay, so you've listed the job description. Now you have to advertise it, because how else are you going to find people? Okay, how will you make that into an advertisement? You will tell them about your business, how you started, what you do, and what has your growth been like and goals for the future. And the second step is to create an employee value statement to attract the right people. So you're going to write an advertisement, say for Facebook. Hi, my name is Alisa, and I've been running Barcelona beautiful events since 2002, and now I'm looking to hire an assistant. And the title of this would be Organize Luxury Tours for German Travelers in Spain, because you know in the back of your head that your main clientele is from Germany. So your employee value statement is the thing that you will use to attract the right employee for your company. So which would be called Organize Luxury Tours for German Travelers in Spain, the title of your job advertisement. Now, below that, you are going to put a summary of the job, which says, if you are looking to gain experience in luxury travel, help us expand our business, learn about and cater to different cultures and traveling a lot, this could be your dream job. Below that, you will list what you offer, a competitive salary, and perks such as discounts, meal vouchers, growth and travel opportunities. Of course, these are just examples. Please feel free to tailor what you're going to offer, and please don't put stuff there that you're not going to offer, because that's going to be a very bad step on your behalf. Okay, and last but not least, list your contact details for the application so the applicant knows how to reach out to you for getting in touch. Now, you've advertised the job. Ideally, I would suggest making this step beforehand, but you can do it whilst you've advertised as well. It really depends on if you know what your business is about, or how many competitors you have, or if you already know what you're going to offer. But if you don't, this is a handy tip. Okay, so setting salaries for your staff is always a tricky thing to do. On one hand, you want to pay enough to get the best possible talent. On the other hand, you don't want to overpay. So what's an entrepreneur to do? Okay, the key is not to panic. You never want to pay more than the job is worth to you. That's just good business. Because at the end of the day, a salary is like any business expense. It's an investment, and you should get a return. Begin by deciding the top amount you'd be willing to pay. How do you do that? Okay, just ask yourself, how much more valuable will this person make my company? Your answer is the most you'd be willing to pay the person when it comes to their salary. For a salesperson or business development employee, that question is easy to answer. These types of employees bring in revenue, so you can just ask yourself if the sales they're generating covers their salary. So if your new sales candidate can bring in 5,000 euro in profits, then it might certainly be worth it to offer a 2,000 euro salary plus commissions to bring them on board. But how do you decide what you pay for someone administrative or support staff? The ones who don't bring in money, but whom you couldn't live without. Their value isn't so much in the money they make, but in the money they save. So ask yourself what it would cost not to have them on board, and use the answer to justify their salary. So when it comes to rehiring for open positions, if you know a job's value, you can quickly eliminate candidates who are too expensive. So if you disqualify everyone who's asking too much, however, it's a sign you're either undervaluing the job, or you should just do it yourself because you don't think it's worth enough to pay someone for it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The next step is to figure out the least you'll pay. And that's where the market comes in. Market rates set candidates' expectations. Either way, candidates will expect you to at least pay market rates unless you can offer good alternatives. Sometimes you can get away with offering a lower salary if you have really good perks, or if you have really beautiful growth opportunities. So it depends on what you're able to offer. And of course, the candidate itself, because everyone is different, everyone's needs are different. So you might be lucky to find someone who is willing to take a lower pay, but looking forward to growth opportunities and really having more responsibilities and challenges instead. Okay, so other business owners are a good source of pay scales because they can share their market rate experience. Join a business networking group where you can network with other business owners and perhaps swap salary data. For administrative jobs, you can call a local temporary staffing agency and price out a temp. Ask them what it would cost to hire someone like that per hour. So that gives you an idea. Of course, it's a bit more because they're an agency and they have their commissions as well, but it will give you a rough idea of what you can be charging for this position. I do apologize, there's an ambulance passing. Yes, thank you for that. So yes, where was I? So you can find out from a staffing agency and price out what the employee would cost you per hour, for example. And then you figure the salary out for a permanent position, taking into account that you won't be paying agency overhead, but you will be providing benefits, if you will be. So for high-level jobs, headhunters and recruiters are great sources of information. I don't know how many high-level jobs you'll be hiring for a small business, but that is at your discretion because every business is different, but you can use these resources as well. And headhunters and recruiters will often provide some guidance for free in the hopes that you'll engage them for actually hiring someone when you need it. At the end of the day, you'll pay a combination of what the job is worth to you, so value of the position for you, and what the market demands. Okay, and then of course the biggest consideration is what is the cost to me if not hired. So if I don't hire this person, what is it going to take for me to do this on my own, or will my partner help out, or how much more workload is it going to be? Because don't forget, even you are deriving revenues or income from the business, so you are still incurring costs if you're going to do it yourself. Okay, great. So in sum, set your upper salary limit, know what the market is offering, match jobs whose value comes with hours to hourly pay, match jobs whose value comes in insight or skill to salary pay, and jobs that bring in revenue, match those with commission. An option is using bonuses to align everyone around company or product service goals. Sometimes, like I mentioned before, you can trade cash salary for intangibles or services. Now you might wonder, what should I offer? Or now you know how to determine pay, but what type of pay is there? Okay, so there's types of pay. There's hourly pay. Hourly pay is natural when the work is directly related to time, like a store clerk, because you'll only be paid for the hours that you're actually in the store, right? Now, check minimum wage requirements in that case, because every country is different and every sector is different. So I would advise checking the minimum wage requirements for that if you are paying per hour. Salary-based jobs are another matter. Salaries are fixed. So no matter how much work an employee does, they'll get the same amount in their paycheck each week. Commission-based. Some jobs contribute to revenue directly, like salespersons. To them, you can pay a commission based directly onto the revenue generated. And you can use this commission to motivate them to sell as much as possible by basing their income on their sales volume. And last but not least, you can also offer perks such as vouchers, services as a complementary source of income. Medical insurance, pension plans, it really depends on how much budget you have available and how much you are willing to invest in your employee. And of course, legal requirements, do not forget that. Okay. Let's look at affordable yet effective recruitment methods. Because as a small business, cost control is quite important. And now that you've got your numbers sorted, you need to attract the right person with the right medium. And there is so much choice out there nowadays, so take your pick. So there's referral hiring, which is the good old word of mouth. You know how it goes. You have a friend who knows someone else. So just mentioning it, put the word out there. Hey, I'm looking for someone for my business. And these are the requirements. If you know of somebody, I'd be really appreciative. A small message like that can really work wonders. So don't underestimate it. Networking events are also a good resource. You can find recommendations for people or even people willing to join you at these events. Just go prepared and know exactly what you want to offer. And I would say when you go to such an event, always schedule a follow-up. So you can get to know the person one-on-one before you actually decide, because those events are usually crowded or there's lots of people there. So it's always good to have a one-on-one meeting with a person. Now, last but not least, social media. Now, there's a big demand on social media. You can use Instagram, you can use Facebook within groups or your friend circle, and LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn page or profile. And once the candidates start to apply, you can start to review each application based on their CV. So how do you screen a candidate's CV? It's very easy, actually. Remember the results you wanted to achieve with the help of your new assistant? When you look at a candidate's CV, do you see the match you are looking for in terms of results at least 80% of the time? If yes, then you should invite this candidate to an interview. If not, set aside the CV and send a regret letter to the person when you can, or preferably as soon as you can. An example of a good CV, let's have a look. An example of a good CV is this one. So let's look at Miss Mia Walters. She says she's an innovative event planner with outstanding communication, interpersonal organizational skills, adept at quickly assessing skills, developing plans, etc. Great. Let's see what she highlights. She can do social media, administrative support, project management, and many other skills. Good. And then her experiences, she's the last one. Event planner, to current, event coordinator. Good. Event planner and coordinator. Now look at what she's actually done during each of those jobs. Consult with director, identify, assemble, and organize. See, now remember those verbs I was telling you about? Good, she has those same verbs here, so tick in the box for that. Develop, tick, create, tick, source, tick. Great, so I like Mia already. You didn't ask for any fancy education, but there she has it, a Bachelor of Arts Communication. Can do no harm, always good. Let's see, she knows how to work with social media, which will really help your business. Administrative support, great, when you need it. Document control, good, perhaps for database management. Record keeping, research and analysis, okay. And company needs, marketing and event coordination. So I like, excuse me, a moment. Ah, strange. Okay. Okay, so just to give you an idea, I'm getting a message that the CV is not opening up, but if you click on this link, you'll be able to open it. So please have a look at that. So Mia apparently is very good, and I would invite her for an interview. Now, an example of a better CV when we look at the second one, which is the event coordinator. Let's have a look. Just click on the link and you can join me to have a look at it. Now, if you look at event coordinator, Justine Carlson, now you can see that Justine is adaptable, taking charge, event planner with talent for special event management and focus, great, trusted as a go-to, and she has experience in leading all stages of innovative branded and revenue generating events. Great. So Justine is also good, but I like Justine more than Mia, and for the reason why. Now, if you look at Justine has described her, she hasn't just described her responsibilities, Justine has described her CV, her experience in the terms of results that she has achieved. This is very ideal for a candidate to do, so you can actually see what they have achieved. Okay, so Justine has founded event management firm from startup to a thriving enterprise. She has done client rostering for Fortune 500 companies. Okay, she worked for Colorado's largest event management company. She coordinated and executed corporate and business community events to drive business and revenue growth. So she's giving you the results she achieved. This is very ideal. So someone like this, definitely, I would hire. I mean, at least invite for an interview and put her on my potential hire list. Okay. She also did product launch parties, major fundraisers, etc. So that's an idea for you to how to screen a candidate. So what's a good candidate and what's a better candidate. Okay, great. So now let's go to the next slide. Like I said, this is a screening chart. And a screening chart is something that you make on the basis of the requirements that you have. So for our event coordinator or assistant, whatever you want to call the position, I put down some tasks. So planning and organizing, business development, liaison and negotiation, customer service, database management. Okay, now, if you look at the candidates that I received, assuming that we received a lot of CVs, but let's just screen 4. So now we have Natasha, Jordi, Alisa, and Maria. Now, Natasha, I saw, has done planning and organizing, so I put a tick there. Business development, tick. Liaison negotiation, tick. Customer service, tick. Database management, tick. So she scored 5 points out of all 5 requirements. Now, if you have 10 requirements, then the points should be equaling to 10, logically speaking. Now, with Jordi, for example, I saw planning and organizing. I saw business development. I did not see liaison negotiation, so that point is blank. Customer service, yes. Database management, yes. So he scores a bit less than Natasha, but still a good candidate, so he comes up to 4. Alisa, for example, no planning and organizing. Business development, yes. No liaising. Customer service, yes. And no database. Not so sure I want to invite her because she seems more like, I don't know, someone more in business development. Do I really want that? I'm not sure. So let's not look at her for right now. Okay. So she scored the least from all of them. And Maria, again, similar to Jordi, has scored 4. So I would definitely invite Natasha, Jordi, and Maria. So this is how I would suggest screening someone. Write down the requirements and match them with the CV, grade them on a base of points, and the higher points get invited to an interview. The lower points are set aside, and we will deal with them later if you do not use them in the second round of interviews. Should one of your candidates retract, then you will send them a regret letter saying thank you for your application and your interest. Right now, we have decided to proceed with one of them. Okay, so now the big thing, the interview. Great. Ideally, you would schedule interviews with the suitable candidates. So that would be Maria and Jordi. Let's look at those again. Natasha, Maria, and Jordi. Okay, not Alisa. So you schedule interviews with them. Set aside at least 30 to 45 minutes, which should be a good time for an interview. Can be an hour also, but it should not take so long to screen someone unless something is very wrong with them or something is you're not able to determine. Okay, in that case, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So send a job description up front for preparation. The candidate should be able to prepare for the interview up front because they should know what is expected of them, what are they able to do, and they should be able to come up with concrete examples. So when you invite a candidate, if you don't have an office, look for a quiet area. I don't know if you can rent a space for someday, or a very cozy cafe, like very quiet, because the last thing you want to do is be in a noisy environment where the candidate is constantly disturbed by noise or by people talking, and they're not able to concentrate, which will give you the idea that they're maybe lost for words, but it could be something else as well. Maybe they're just disturbed or they're anxious because of all the noise around them. So make sure that you give them a comfortable environment. It is good to schedule, like I said, an hour max for something like this. Offer them something to drink. It's always kind to offer something to drink, just like you would do it in your office. It's just courtesy. Thirdly, make sure you sit across the person, because in interviewing, that's always ideal to give them the sense that, yes, you are friendly and you want to establish a friendship with the person, but you also want to show them that they will be working for you, so that there is a tiny boundary there, and that boundary will be established by the table between you. Okay? Good. So you send them the job description up front and you ask them to prepare. So now when you speak to the person, the first thing you do is do an introduction. You tell them about, first of all, you thank them for coming. Then you tell them about your company. You must have read about us because you applied to the position. Let me tell you a bit more in detail. Okay, and give them some details, then tell them about the position, and then ask them why they applied. Now let them tell you their motivation. Now, do not rely on your memory. Ask permission from the candidate for you to take notes. Okay, which is very important. And all questions should be the same for all candidates. This approach ensures fair treatment and comparison of all candidates. So if you ask Jordi 10, Maria and Alisa and everyone that you invited should be getting the same questions. Okay? Do not ask questions about the candidate's race, nationality, age, gender, disabilities, marital status, spouses, children and their care, criminal records or credit records. Asking those types of questions leaves you open to losing lawsuits that allege discrimination. Ask open-ended questions and try to avoid questions answered with yes or no. So you would ask them, so can you describe to me what skills do you bring to this job? What concerns do you have about filling this role? What was your biggest challenge in a past job and how did you meet it? And use the STAR method to identify candidates fit. Now, what is the STAR method? STAR method is situation, task, action, and result. So ask the candidate to describe a situation which was really challenging for them. So ideally, they would say, I had a very difficult client 2 years ago when I was working for XYZ event management. Good, so that was the situation. What was the task? The task was, I had to arrange their wedding, but the bride was being very difficult with the flower arrangement. Okay, so that was the task, arranging the wedding. So the action. So what did you do when you found it very challenging to work with the bride? I decided to not let it bother me by giving her different options and being patient, because after all, she's a client. And by giving her different options and by giving her good suggestions, she was a little bit easier to work with. And I got it done within no time, as opposed to getting stressed out and not having the task achieved and having an unhappy customer. Great. So she took action. And what was the result of that? That's the last one, the R. Well, the client was very happy and they left us a good review on the website. Plus, they also recommended us to their family and friends, saying that they were glad with our professional service. Great. Now, if every candidate could describe every question that you ask with the STAR method and you are satisfied with that answer, then great. Then that's the candidate that ideally suits your organization if they're able to answer those questions properly by giving you the results and the actions that resonate with you. Okay, so talk 25% of the time and listen 75% of the time. I know employers think that, oh, I need to know, I need to ask, but you're not the only one who needs to do that. The candidate is the one who needs to talk more, because they're the one trying to get to know your organization, to get to know your company. So let them talk, let them ask you questions, and also ask them to ask you questions. Now, if you see that this candidate is not meeting up to your expectations, if you see that they are not exactly what you're looking for, then just try to sell the business. And what I mean is try to make them understand that, okay, well, good, let's talk about the business again. So this is what we do, and this, and very subtly then just put it out there saying, well, and it's not rude to tell them that you don't think they're a match. It's just a way of saying it. You can always say, well, I think that your interests or your qualifications at this time are not exactly a match for what I'm looking. But if you know of someone, please feel free to recommend them. That's a very polite way of doing it. And you never know. If they liked talking to you, they might recommend you to someone else. So you might still find someone through them. So it's not a loss. It's never a time waste. Okay? If the above mentioned part has gone well, then proceed to the next step. Ask the candidate about what he or she expects for compensation and benefits. And even though the job description might specify the pay ranges and benefits, the candidate might have a strong preference for other provisions that suit his or her nature or needs. Okay? So find out from them, and then you can negotiate. Also find out when they can start work if offered the job. Allow the person at least 2 weeks to get his or her affairs in order. Expecting a candidate to start sooner might convey to them that your company operates in a crisis mode, which can be very unattractive to good candidates. And explain to them when you'll be getting back to them. Then always do your best to get back to each person soon regarding if they got through the job interview or not. If your first choice for candidates does not work out, you might have to resort to choosing the second best candidate. He or she might not accept the job if offended that you did not get back to him or her. So it's always good to communicate. It's very important, especially from no matter the size of your business, but from an HR perspective, communication is very essential. Okay, and the last thing I would like you to do is, yes, you can explain work culture, expectations, probationary period. Very important to explain to them what you look for. And work culture is also very important. But you can also ask for references. Ideally, I would say contact at least 3 references the candidate offers from their past work history, especially if your programs involve direct services to children, adults, and the elderly. Then seriously consider conducting background checks on the most preferred candidates for the job. Remember, it should only be done when candidates have gotten through the interview and not for someone who has only applied. And reference checks should always be done with candidates' permission. And during a reference check, just ask for misconduct and ethical behavior. The rest is usually unnecessary. You don't need to know, if they like to socialize with colleagues after work. That's none of your business. It's usually to know, have they done any misconduct at work, or how are they ethical at work? That's what you want to know. Are they trustworthy? Okay. Okay. Be sure to tell candidates of any relevant conditions at work. And now when you need to make a job offer, okay, so evaluate which candidates fits the job with the matrix, like I showed you before. Make the job offer via phone first. If the candidate accepts, proceed with extending a job offer letter. If they reject, try to negotiate, find out why they're rejecting, or go for the second best candidate. And if all else fails, start again from the advertising. As for preparing for the new employee, I would suggest that you look at the previous webinar on onboarding, because that will give you all the information in there. I hope this webinar has been very beneficial for you. If you have any questions or any queries, please feel free to contact me and I will be happy to answer them.